Thank you so much, Norma, and welcome and hi to everybody here. It's been a delight so far. But is it really a delight and is it an adventure when you're on your trip and a journey to the great unknown? Yes, that's right. You're about to be given a table topic. And it's an adventure because you don't know what the question is going to be and you don't know what you're going to say in reply. But that's the exciting part of table topics. You can direct your audience to go anywhere in the world right there with you. And today, to cover a few secrets, we're going to go over 5 secrets to giving a winning table topic. It's all about taking your audience on an adventure and a journey that they will never forget. And hey, if you can win at the same time, good for you. So we've got 5 secrets. And the very first one is to start and end in the same place. You want to pick your audience up and you want to drop them off in the same place where you began. And if you can master this skill, I know it's impromptu, but if you get it down, people will come up to you and say, hey, that sounded like a prepared speech. But really, it's just because you had a start and a conclusion. And it will tie your topic together and it will help your audience to remember where you started and what is the question that you're answering as you summarize at the end. So for example, if you were asked the question, what's more important, time or money? Perhaps you might say, I think that time is more important because that's what we have less of ultimately. And then you give your reasons, perhaps you share a short story. And then when you're done with your topic, you conclude as you started and you say, and that's why I think that time is most important. So you have your start and your finish. And it ties together and it will make your table topic feel complete. So one more example might be, if you won the lottery, how would you spend the money? And you might reply, well, I'd buy a dream home or I'd give it to charity. Then you give your reasons why, you go through the topic, perhaps tell a short story, and then at the end you conclude by saying, and that's why if I won the lottery, I would buy my dream home or I'd give it to charity. And therefore you have your start and your finish. And it's simple. Sometimes it takes a little bit of practice. And that's exactly what we're going to have time throughout the presentation today. Now, I see a lot of cameras on. I'm going to just call on you if your camera is on. If you don't want to participate, that's totally fine. Very simple challenges here for table topics. We're actually going to do tiny topics. Instead of 1 to 2 minutes, we'll have 30 seconds. So even less pressure than usual. But I'll go ahead and ask a question and see for this exercise if you can start and finish in the same way. So the question is, what's your dream vacation destination? What's your dream vacation destination? And for this question, I'm going to call on Aminat.
Thank you very much. What is my dream vacation or destination? I would say I'll pick a destination. No, actually, let me go back to vacation. I love the sea, the breeze, fresh coconuts, the sun, particularly the shade. All I want to do on holiday is sit on a beautiful white sand somewhere on an island. So if anyone has an island in the audience, please, yes, I am available for free, just to, help you house sit if you're interested. I am a very good house sitter. And it's just, yes, like I was saying, the sea, the breeze, sand, beautiful, and just me in a onesie with a nice coconut screams vacation to me. There are many, many beautiful beaches and islands in the world, so I can't actually pick a destination. As a result, I am just going to pick a vacation. And that leaves me open to anyone in the audience, like I said, who has an island somewhere or just want to pack them in their bag along with them. Thank you. Back to you, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Aminat. Now, notice how Aminat started talking about not being sure where she was going to go on vacation. She finally picked the sea. And then when she concluded, she came back to, and if anybody has an island close to the ocean, the sea is where I'd like to go. So if you can have that start, you can take your topic anywhere, but if you can have that start and have that finish, then it's going to tie your topic together and remind the audience the question that you're answering. Now, we want to keep these topics very short so that we can include them throughout the educational. So let's have another one, but try and keep an eye on Asim, our timekeeper, who has 30 seconds on the clock for you. So we have another question, and that is, what's one piece of advice you would share with the world? What is one piece of advice that you would share with the world? Over to Emmanuel.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. One piece of advice I would share with the rest of the world is don't take yourself too seriously. I think when you take yourself too seriously, you kind of box yourself in. You can't really be agile. You can't wriggle out of positions that you may have driven yourself into. And that really cramps on your style, besides making other people around you really miserable. So that's why I think don't take yourself seriously would be a good piece of advice.
Emmanuel, that was outstanding. So you could hear how he started. Don't take yourself too seriously. He tells us all the reasons why, and he concludes by saying, and this is why, don't take yourself too seriously. Okay, perfect examples that we've had so far. Thank you to our participants. There's going to be more opportunities. Don't worry. But again, if you can start and end in the same place, it means you have to remember where you started. But if you can start and end, it will tie your topic together, and it will allow your audience to remember the question that's being answered. Now, secret number 2, take a detour. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it turns out that when you take the stage, when you unmute your microphone, it doesn't mean that every person in the audience is glued to the screen. Turns out that one person's stomach is rumbling, so they're thinking about ordering pizza. Other person maybe texting their girlfriend, and the third person is probably having a work assignment that they're going over in their mind about how they're going to present. And then you take the stage. So what you have to do is captivate the audience attention. You've got to take them on a detour. Bring up something unexpected that they're not looking for or that's different from everybody else. Takes a little bit of creativity, but it can definitely be done. And especially in a contest where each contestant gets the same question, if you can take a detour and be different, then you will automatically stand out. There's a lot of ways to do this, but today we'll see 4 different ways, and then you can also come up with your own. For example, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? You could include a dialogue. For example, you might say, if it was me, I might say, Elyssa, how many times have I told you that you cannot be eating the bottom of the cone because all the ice cream is just going to come on your shirt? My mom always told me, always ruining the fun, but I didn't mind having chocolate chip ice cream all over my shirt. Okay, so that's an example of a little bit of dialogue. And what you do is when you have dialogue, it brings your audience into the scene with you. It's kind of like watching a movie. And if you notice, most movies, that's pretty much all they have is just dialogue. So you create a scene and you captivate your audience mind. You take a detour and do something different. Dialogue can help you do that. Another very effective tool is to use a different direction, especially in a contest. When the question is the same for each contestant, most everybody answers very similarly. So if you can take the topic in a different direction that they're not expecting, you will automatically stand out. So for example, if you got the question, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? You might say, well, actually, I hate ice cream. Well, I mean, I hate garlic ice cream. I had some in Puerto Rico, and then I had corn ice cream, and that was even worse. But then I had coconut ice cream, and that was my absolute favorite. Okay, so I saw a few faces on screen, and when I said I hate ice cream, I saw a few eyes pop out like, what? And that's exactly what you want. You want to surprise your audience. You want their mind to think, what? Why? What? And if they ask themselves a question, it means that they're listening to you. So think of a way that you can take your audience in a different direction. Answer the question in a negative. Answer it in a different way, and you will definitely stand out and you will captivate interest. Another fun one, super cool, is to use the metaphor. And the fun thing about a metaphor is that you can take that topic in any direction that you want to go. And it's very simple. If you want to use a metaphor, think of these phrases. Okay, it reminds me of, or it's like. So we might say ice cream. Ice cream reminds me of life. You know, in one lick, it comes and goes. So let's enjoy it to the fullest and let's make the most of it. So now we went from ice cream to talking about life. And now we don't have to talk about favorite flavors. We can talk about life and how amazing life is and all the things we want to do in life and how much we're going to enjoy it. Because a metaphor opens the door to your imagination and any direction that you want to take it. And it frees you so that you can do anything you want with that topic. So consider using a metaphor. And very quickly as an example, for example, if anyone mentions a trophy, you might think of success. And you can talk about success instead of being limited to talking about a trophy. Or if someone, for example, shows you a bottle of water or mentions water, you can talk about the essentials of life, those things that we can't live without. And you're not limited to speaking about just a bottle of water. You can do anything you want. So that's the power of the metaphor. And you can use it in your speeches. And of course, it would be loath of me not to mention that we might also use humor, as mentioned in the previous educational. And again, if you can connect with humor, I've heard it done in different clubs, and the person who's the funniest, they connect with the audience. And if people are laughing, that means they're listening. So if you can use a bit of humor, say something different, you will definitely be able to connect. Now, on to a second of practice. Remember that we have 30 seconds on the clock for this. It's got to be a little bit succinct, but that also makes it easier for you so you don't have to come up with so much material. And for this one, let's just have a little fun and let's try out the metaphor. So I'll show an object and you can just use this phrase and just tell us what this object reminds you of or what idea comes to mind when you see this object. It doesn't have to be very long, just a few seconds, even 2 sentences is fine. So I've got the alarm clock. The alarm clock, and we'll pass this topic over to Gulaire.
Thank you. An alarm clock reminds me of, gosh, the time that I was 12 years old. I had not one, but 10 alarm clocks. I needed those 10 alarm clocks to wake me up for school. So yes, an alarm clock reminds me of the time that I was 12 years old and needed 10 alarm clocks to wake up.
Awesome, Gulaire, great job. And perhaps in summary of the metaphor, we could say that the alarm clock reminds you of being on time or tardiness, and then you can go into your story, right? So that would be the comparison there. So great job, 10 alarm clocks. Oh boy. Okay, let's have another one. Okay, this one should be easy. I don't know if you guys partake in this at all. Okay, so coffee, and this topic goes to Joanna.
Thank you, Elyssa. Coffee. I am very sensitive to coffee. And this has been the nemesis of my university. Imagine freshmen coming up right at the beginning of the year and coming to you as an older student at the university. I have already drank coffee today. How do you know that? How do you know that I'm sensitive? Oh, I cannot say, but you already drank 2 coffees today, right? My university was over when I received my first freshmans. So I would say, yes, go to your boss, to the person that is older than you in age, and just let them know that they have already drank too much caffeine today. Back to you.
Okay. So we might say that coffee reminds you of health problems. I don't know if I caught that right at the end, but yes. So coffee
Well,
reminds you of
maybe.
trouble. I thought someone might say coffee reminds me of happiness, right? Because I know a lot of people like their coffee. So as you can see, you can take coffee and say, it reminds me of, and if you can just use even one word, then you can go based off of that word and create a whole scenario. So if it's coffee reminds me of trouble, then you go into your story and then you develop it, and then you come back at the end and say, yeah, and you know, coffee reminds me of trouble. And you can talk all kinds of trouble and whatever else you want to include. So the metaphor really does open a door into whatever world you want to jump into. And you can use it in so many different ways. But ultimately, what you want to do is take a detour. You want to stand out. You want to grab the audience attention because their minds are all over the place at times, as we know life can be. And it's your job as the presenter to do something different, take a detour, and make sure that each audience mind is right there with you. Now, secret number 3 is use signposting. And this might sound familiar because we do it a lot with speeches, but it turns out you can do it with table topics as well. Now, a few weeks ago, I was attending a conference. Well, it was mostly just a panel discussion. They had 3 of the world champions of public speaking and Toastmasters to answer the questions. And they did fairly well, but then one speaker was asked a question. He started to answer, and supposing that he's talking about planet Earth, by the time he was done, we were in another galaxy, and I didn't know how we'd gotten there. He went from one topic to the other, to the other, to the other, and I couldn't figure out how one connected to the other, and I was so lost. And I'm pretty sure he was lost too. I'm pretty sure he didn't even remember what the question was that he got asked. So you can even be a world champion, but you might still have to work on signposting. And in table topics, you think, oh, that's so hard. How am I supposed to signpost when I'm speaking in the impromptu moment? But actually, it can be quite simple because all you have to do is remember the key words of your question. For example, if you got asked, what's your most embarrassing moment? Then what you can do is remember your key words, which in my opinion would be embarrassing and moment. Now, the fun thing about this is that you just keep on using those keywords and it's going to string together your topic, and that's going to be your theme. And you keep coming back and you keep repeating these keywords, and it's going to help you remember what it is you're supposed to be talking about, and it will help your audience to know what you're talking about. Because if you're lost, they're lost. So if you know where you are, so do they. An example of using keywords with this topic might be, if I was asked, what's your most embarrassing moment? I might answer, a most embarrassing moment could be when you put your head on your boyfriend's shoulder and then realize it's not your boyfriend. That could be a very embarrassing moment, but I know that we all have lots of embarrassing moments. Situations where we think this can't be happening to me. And it could be issues with clothes, and it could be issues with your children, but there are a lot of embarrassing moments to be had. And I just hope my embarrassing moments can be over soon. So if you're able to pick up, there was a mention there of keywords, and it will help you to tie into your topic continually. Another example might be, which is better, beach or mountains? Could anybody in the chat comment which would be the keywords for this topic? Which is better, beach or mountains? Which are the key words that you're going to want to come back to? Better. Better. Beach and mountains. Exactly. That's what I've got here. So we might say that better, beach, and mountains are the keywords you want to keep referring to. So you just keep on repeating them. And maybe for you, it feels like, oh, you know, how boring, but actually it's going to just help us to tie in and remember the theme. So let's see if we can give this a try. And I've gone ahead and highlighted the keywords for you, so you know which ones you want to keep on bringing up. Just try to mention them as many times as possible, and then we'll see how we go. So the question is, what is one talent you wish you had? What is one talent you wish you had? Nikita.
One talent I wish I had. My goodness. I wish I hadn't splatted on my skiing holiday. And I wish I had a talent for skiing, because it is absolutely fantastic being in the mountains and being able to enjoy them and experience the exhilaration. So, yes, I really wish I hadn't splatted, and I wish I could ski. Thank you.
Excellent job, Nikita. I heard that word wish quite a few times, and I heard the word talent as well. And so again, that connects you to your topic, connects your audience to your topic. That was very well done and fantastic job. Let's have another one. What mountains have you faced in life? What mountains have you faced in life? And let's call on Rupa.
What mountain have I faced in life? So the biggest mountain I have faced and I'm still facing is my tennis elbow. I never thought I could take break from my fitness. This was the only one thing I was dreaming to wake up every morning 5:30. Just because of that, I'm not motivated to wake up early. Even though I wake up, I go to walk. Even though I go for a sprint walk, that is not very kind of like, you know, satisfying as my workout. So that's the mountain I think in my life I have faced and I'm still facing. I really wish and pray that I managed to face the mountain, and now it's my time to come down from the mountain, enjoy my life, go back to fitness. So that's the mountain I have faced in my life. Back to you, Elyssa.
Excellent job, Rupa. And I love how you not only intertwined the key words, but you also started and finished in the same way. So that's a double, that is a double win for you. Thank you. So there you go. You can connect all your keywords to your theme, and that will help you and the audience. So use SignPosting. Now, there's also a number 4. There is a secret number 4. And I think we use this maybe in speeches, but again, in table topics, it's very handy as well. And that is to be specific. Be specific. A famous speaker, Patricia Fripp, once said, specificity brings credibility. The more specific you can be with your topic, the more it shows that you are the guru, you are the expert in your area, and therefore you are the most qualified to speak about your topic. Now, perhaps it's a table topic, so perhaps you're just speaking about yourself, but again, you can use lots of details. So if you got asked the question, if you won the lottery, how would you spend the money? You could be specific by using a description, a fact, or even a quote. If you can throw in a quote, you are awesome. It's tough. It has to be a quote maybe you've learned beforehand, but you can tie it into your topic. Now, I'm going to read, you're going to listen to one of these 3. And if you could post in the chat which 3 it is. Is it a description, a fact, or a quote? An answer to the question, if you won the lottery, how would you spend the money? So if you heard this, which 3 would it be? The UK National Lottery began in 1994, and it starts at £2 million and can go up to 3.5 million. A fact, okay. And of course, this would have to be a fact you can know off the top of your head. Perhaps you know a bit about lotteries, or you can think of a fact and bring it in. Great. Another one. If I won the lottery, I would spend the money on a blazing chestnut mare who runs with the wind, has a white diamond on his muzzle, and always comes when I call. Okay, Asim says description, description, description. Okay, so it's about being specific and using some description. Excellent. And of course, the last one would be a quote. Nelson Mandela said, "I never lose. I either win or I learn." So if you know of a famous quote, toss it into your topic and tie it together, and you will definitely look and feel like a pro. Now, for the purpose of our practice, let's just practice a bit with description. So let's see, we're going to call on, here's the question. What is your favorite dessert? And be as specific as possible. Give us all the details. What is your favorite dessert? We'll go over to Mohammed.
Nice. My favorite dessert is waffle with Nutella and ice cream, vanilla ice cream, to be specific, with strawberries on top and chocolate syrup. Yeah, delicious. You should try. Thank you.
Mohammed,
Yeah.
I could taste the dessert, and I want some of those waffles. Please send them over as soon as possible. But when you have description, you really do bring your audience in, because now they can taste it, now they can feel it, now they can hear it. So what kind of description can you provide as you're speaking? Let's have one more. If there's only a time for one stop in London, what site would you recommend? And for this question, we'll toss it on over to Ian. If you could have one stop in London, if there's only time for one stop, which would you recommend?
If I was going to stop in London, I think the best place to go and visit for me is Buckingham Palace. You could stand in front of Buckingham Palace and you could see so many things going on. There's the changing of the guard, there's all the people, there's the grand house itself, the railings and the guards. What a place to take in the atmosphere of London. That would be the place that I would go if I was having one stop in London.
Ian, fantastic job. I loved your start and finish and all of the details, the changing of the guard, what you like about the Buckingham Palace. You gave us specifics, and so it helps our mind to imagine being there. And so we're right there with you. So there's lots of ways to be specific. These are several: quote, a description, a fact, but draw your audience in and make sure that they stay with you throughout your whole topic. And finally, last but not least, and most important, it's the moment the audience has been waiting for. It's the question, the burning question in their minds. And that is, what does your topic have to do with me? And that's why secret number 5 is to connect through application. So connect with your audience, because in their subconscious, they're asking themselves, what does it matter? Like, what do I do with your story? Like, so what? To be a little bit upfront. So what? And it's your job as a speaker to connect your topic to your audience, because if you not only share your story, but you touch hearts and minds, then you will take them on a journey they'll never forget. And they will remember your topic. And chances are you could come out winning with the best topic, because that's what the audience is looking for. And that's what they're waiting for. And a very easy way to start practicing this is to use the word we. If you're telling your story, last week I got stopped by a policeman. We all get stopped by policemen occasionally. I was facing a very challenging situation. We all face challenging situations. You see, so even just by changing your language and making it inclusive, you'll connect with your audience. And of course, you can also use we, you can use you. You've had that moment, you've had that time, you know what I'm talking about. And that will immediately bridge the gap and build a connection between your content and their lives. And ultimately, this is what the audience is waiting for. And this is what Toastmasters and public speaking in general is all about. It's being able to connect. And then if you get a little bit advanced and you practice, you might even be able to throw in some examples and even a lesson. It can be very short. But if you're talking about, I was facing a challenge, we all face challenges. For example, raising our children, losing our jobs, being stopped by the policeman, and then the lesson. But we can all move forward. We can all find a way forward. Okay. So that's a little bit more advanced, but as you practice, you can even toss in an example and a lesson. And this is the moment that your audience is waiting for. It's that connection between your message and their lives. Now, for the purpose of our practice, you don't have to do the lesson and the examples, but if you can at least do inclusive language and use the word we, then that would be fantastic. So the question is, so the topic is trophies must be won. Trophies must be won. And we'll send it over to, the name is being blocked. Hang on a sec. Okay, I can't see. Last name Watson. I'm so sorry. I cannot see your name.
Rosa, I think.
Okay,
Rosa Watson.
Okay, Rosa, trophies must be won.
Trophies must be won. We've all been there, right? Being in sports day, in front of the crowd, wanting to run and get that trophy at the end. And you get there and you're lost. Trophies must be won, but it might not be by us, but there's always next time, guys. So don't give up and keep competing. Thank you, Elyssa. Over to you.
That was fantastic. Did you guys feel the connection? She was speaking to us, and so we were able to connect, even with that simple we. That was a fantastic example. Thank you so much. And last question. It's time to say goodbye to the fear of table topics. It's time to say goodbye to the fear of table topics. And let's call on, okay, who hasn't gone yet here? Oh, Dan. Dan, over to you.
It is time to say goodbye to the fear of table topics, I think, and Elyssa has shown that to us all this evening, hasn't she? I think when you go over, and I've seen you all making notes, and I've been making some notes myself, and when we have these systems in place that we can use, that Elyssa has so effectively shown us, then we can put them into practice. Toastmasters is brilliant, obviously, for practice, and then we can take them out into our lives. It is time to get over the fear of table topics for all of us, I think, and I'm sure you all agree. Thank you.
Okay, that was an excellent example. Again, we've got, thank you, Dan, for including the start and the finish. And then there was that we, so that we feel like whatever he's sharing is geared directly to us and to our lives. And he also gave us some examples of what we can do and what we're putting into practice. So again, even just by using we, you're going to help to transform your message and make it into the audience's hearts and minds. Now, these are the 5 secrets of table topics. And before we conclude, perhaps you want to see how you can put all these secrets together. And I had the opportunity to compete this past spring in the district conference. And we can look at a video of that. And then in the chat, as you're listening to the video, if you can listen in for the 5 secrets and post in the chat which ones you heard and if there's any you didn't hear. But listen carefully and see if you can identify the 5 secrets. Here we go.
We can sing, we can dance, we can climb, we can go to the highest heights of heaven or soar down to the depths of the sea. But ultimately, if you're with me, then life is an adventure. Life is an adventure because it's bright and beautiful and glorious. The sun is shining, the birds are singing. I can feel the joy in my heart. I can feel the vigor of youth flowing throughout. But what if, even when you're with me, life isn't an adventure? What happens when the storm clouds roll in? What happens when the mountains rise above us and tower to the heights of heaven? And in that moment, the darkness encapsulates us. We don't know how to escape. Even then, if you're with me, is life an adventure? Or is it a nightmare? Is it the worst moment that you ever thought could happen to you? This past 24 years, life has been a challenge. But I have found in those moments, and I have learned that there's something deep buried within. If you search for it, you will find it. And it is happiness. Because in the depths and the darkness and the despair, happiness shines bright. It shines when you offer a kind word and you see a smile light up. When you hear the birds singing And when you hold hope in your heart that no matter what comes, no matter the storms that rage or the seas that surround you, if you have happiness by your side, then life can be an adventure. Because with happiness comes hope, the hope of a bright future, the hope of what tomorrow can bring. And as Shakespeare said, if the world is a stage and each of us are just merely players, then why not write our own script? Because if happiness is by your side and you can find it within you, then truly life will be an adventure.
So perhaps you're wondering what the question was that was asked. When you're with me, life is an adventure. Yes. And so in the chat, which of the 5 secrets did you pick up on? A quote, a connection? Did you hear the we and the you? Okay. Description, says Emmanuel. Okay, I got a lot of description and a quote. Okay. And repeated the key words. Okay, so did you hear life and adventure? Description, connection, keywords. Okay, yep, that's right. Did anybody notice how it was taken in a different direction? Oh, Pearl says metaphor. Okay, because the question was, when you're with me, life is an adventure. So naturally, everyone's going to speak about, oh, you know, you're with me. But how was it taken in a different direction? When you're with me, maybe life isn't an adventure. Exactly. And so that's the challenge, is how can you stand out? And using all of these secrets, you can really reach into audience hearts and minds. And I mean, again, public speaking is not just about grabbing the stage, but it's about connecting and touching lives. So now you have the 5 secrets. And very quickly, secret 6 is that you can use all of these tips for speeches. All of these apply. So you've got a double, you've got a double win today, because all of these will also work for you later on. But just remember, when you take the stage and you get that question, you don't know what to say, you're taking your audience on an adventure. And when they feel that adventure with you, they will connect, they'll enjoy it, they'll be paying attention. And then very likely you will be the winning one. So work on these 5 secrets and ask yourself, what can I do to use these 5 secrets to give a winning table topic? Thank you. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.